how does this song, in this tension of hope and sorrow and grace for the broken, how does this song that is so high praise come out of that scenario?
Well, I mean, I have to say that probably a lot of that had to do with Ingram that day.
Yeah,
for sure, because we were coming from that space of like very like contemplative, asking a lot of questions, and then Jay comes in, and it's hard to even remember that day. People ask me all the time, they're like, tell me what it was like to write this. I'm like, I can't really tell you, because when I wrote it, I was like, I'll never sing this song again. I was like, I can't really tell you.
You were wrong.
I was wrong.
You were wrong.
But like thankful that I was wrong.
Yes, of course.
Like this is the beautiful reminder to me. And I think God did this on purpose of going, hey, like you have no idea what you're doing in any of this. Like get out of the way. Like be willing to step into this.
Yeah.
But like know that I'm doing this.
Right.
And like as much as you can try to force things down the path, you can try to do all this stuff, but like I am the one who is capable of doing all these things. And it's just been a beautiful reminder to me. And I remember, I don't even think when we finished the song that day, I don't think Great Are You, Lord was in the actual song.
Okay.
I think Jason took it back and was doing the demo of it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we got the demo back, and it had the Great Are You, Lord part in it.
Okay.
And it was like all of a sudden it all made sense. I wish I could go back and find that work tape of the original.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I've never tried to even look for
We've got to find that. If you're a publisher out there and you have a voice memo of Great Are You, Lord, please send it to
awesome.
info. Yeah. No, that's so. You guys, you have you're writing with Jason, and for those of you who don't know, and if you're listening to this podcast, you probably do know. Jason Ingram is such a gift to the church and has written so many songs, and just has a way of finding these moments. And so you guys write this song, you get a demo back, and are you like, let's make it, let's put it on record?
No, it was like, nah, I don't think we should do it. But I had so much other baggage going on. It was, and I've sat with Jason with this before, and I had to apologize. But I was coming out of the season of Need to Breathe, and they only write their own songs, and and so like co-writing wasn't a thing. And so to be starting to write with other people, it was like, oh no, we don't want to do that. We're gonna keep it this kind of thing. Keep it in-house. In-house. Yeah. Like we don't want to do that. And it's like, of course you're gonna put us with the greatest worship songwriter that there is. Right. And
thanks, but no thanks.
I don't want to do this. And it was really beautiful. And people were like, I really think you should put this on a record. And finally, it took less convincing for her. It took more convincing for me, but it wasn't even convincing. It was just my own stubbornness. But then, we recorded it on this live record, and it kind of started bubbling, and and then all of a sudden, versions started popping up. Like Amanda Cook did a version that ended up on YouTube, and it's like that's when Bethel was really putting up Sunday nights. And
I think it's kind of crazy if we look back over the last few years and to see what songs Amanda Cook was leading.
She launched them, man.
And I mean, because I think there's a handful of songs where that's the case.
Multiples for sure.
It
was like Amanda did one, and Steph did one, and Jeremy Riddle did one.
Wow.
Like, obviously Bethel was like a major gatekeeper right then of what was kind of coming out. And it was just like all of a sudden it kind of started bubbling up, and then people started throwing it in. And
it's kind of crazy because it's this for me, as somebody who's been around church songs for a long time. It's just like it was there. It was like kind of like what you're saying, because even I went back this morning to look, and it was like I think it was like track 8 on your record, and which never despise track 8, by the way. Right. You never despise it. Right. And But like you said, it wasn't like you weren't leading with it at the time.
Well, because it was like it was all these songs that we'd already had on records.
Right.
It was like Petty doing Mary Jane's Last Dance on his greatest hits record. It's like all of a sudden you're like, oh, that is a part of his greatest hits. It is the greatest.
It is a hit. Yeah. I know, right? I love it. In that documentary, he's like, it's kind of pretentious to put a new song on a greatest hits record, 100%. Right? Yeah. Yeah. But when you're Tom Petty, you can be a little pretentious. So well done, sir. But yeah, so all that to say is, but I think it's kind of crazy because we live in a world where things blow up, right? Like things they hit, they blow up and they become a thing. But then I think it takes a minute for the church sometimes to for us to be aware and then to catch on and for it to land in our hearts. And I think when I think about Greater You Lord, it's like it kind of was doing that. It was like, it was just simmering for a few years. And I mean, I remember Redmond did a version of it at Passion. It was like 2018. Yep. And it brought the house down. Yeah. Even just to this I mean, we've ended most tour nights over the last few years with Greater You Lord. Yeah.
Tomlin did it.
Tomlin did it
at Passion. That was the first time I saw him do it.
Wow.
And that was the first time it was done at Passion.
Yeah.
Well, because I remember Louis was doing the Bones talk.
Okay.
I think it was 2014.
Yeah. Yes, that was 2014.
And me and Jason and Leslie were all in the box up there. And he's going into the talk. And we were like, he should do Greater You Lord would be perfect. But nobody heard it. We had just done it on the live thing.
Okay.
It had just come out or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, it would be perfect.
It would be perfect. Made, tailor-made.
Yeah, made for this.
Yeah.
And then fast forward a few years later with Pat and Chris doing that.
I remember that. It was in the Dome.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And then even when we're in the Benz again, 2020, and Mav was in the middle of their set. And it was just like, it's crazy, David.
It is crazy.
It's crazy. And even when I go back and listen to it, it's such a simple song.
Yeah. Same verse. First and second are the same.
I love that. Don't need a second verse.
Don't need it.
Don't need it.
Yeah.
Let's run it back. Let's run it back. Same verse again. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, because I think there's something to be said, even going back into kind of what you guys were setting out to do as a band and give voice to kind of the tension of the brokenness of life and the hope of God in all of this, and then to have this song of high praise where we somehow elevate our view and we set our hearts on the greatness of God. Yeah. And just as you've been one who's carried this song to the world, what do you see? How do you see that helping people who are in the hard places to set their heart and their gaze on Jesus?
That's a loaded question.
That's why we have a podcast.
I know.
That's why there's microphones.
I know. Video cameras. Catch the expression. No, I think I've been sent so many videos of people singing this in hospital rooms.
Wow.
Or funerals or weddings or anything. And I think that this song allows people to forget about everything else that's happening and simply take a breath and remember that it's not up to them to fill their lungs with any of this. That simply God has given them a gift today.
Yeah.
And forget about everything else.
Wow.
And I think it sounds so simple, but for me, I feel like it's the simple things that really impact greatly. Yeah. Because we don't have time to think. We're not thinking about it.
Right.
It's like simple truths.
Yep.
And we're gonna sit in that. And
right.
We're gonna rely on that. And that's the thing for me that's got me. And that's the thing for me that it not allowed it to get old.
Right.
We're not talking about things that it's not fads.
Right.
It's not hip language.
Yeah.
It's simple truths of things that we're saying, and I don't know, man. It's hard to describe.
No, I love that. In some ways, it's kind of like one of those. Again, it like you said, it's really simple, and it really is the touch of God on this song in such a really profound way. But I think in singing about the greatness of God, or when you like reading the scripture and when you get that view of who Jesus is and that reframing that happens, because it's obviously like I still have my, I'm still in the hospital room, or I'm still, this relationship is falling apart, or, this, that, the other. But now all of a sudden, what does seem overwhelming is like put in its proper place, because now I'm getting overwhelmed by this sovereign, kind, loving, patient God.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a powerful thing. And I think that's what this song has been such a vehicle for. And, but yeah, do you have any other, like, are there any stories or things that you've just, as you've seen? Because again, this song is just kind of keeps going and going.
I mean, even the weird thing, we ended, our last show was at the end of 2016.
Okay.
And so from 2016 to 2020, I didn't really do any shows.
Okay.
And so I'm fast forward to 2020, I'm out on this tour with Mercy Me.
Yep.
And I go to lead this song, and I'm the opener. And all of a sudden, this song just like erupts.
Yeah.
Like an arena is on its feet. It's humongous moment. And I'm like, this didn't used to be like this. Which was...
This hits different.
This is way different.
Yeah.
And man, like being a person who spends a lot of time working on songs.
Yep.
A person who spends a lot of time thinking about moments and if a song will be big or not.
Yeah.
And to know that it really wasn't up to us.
That's amazing.
Like that's kind of what's made the song really special. Is it's not because we carried it.
Right.
It's not because Amanda carried it. It's like everybody's kind of taking it as their own.
That's really powerful.
And it's a vehicle that everybody seems to get into.
Yep.
And it's no one's.
I love that.
Which to me, I go, oh my gosh, it's like that's the purest thing. It's like I can't claim it.
Yeah.
I actually tried to kill it.
Yeah. And God said no, David.
God said no. So I
love it. Louis says it this way to us all the time, to all the songwriters around Passion. He says, hey, just remember, they don't come from you, they come through you. And it's really powerful to see. Well, you also, not only are you a great songwriter, great artist, but you're a great producer, and you've been producing music, and you're putting out music right now, and it's just some great songs. And we've gotten to write together and work on some stuff recently. It's been really fun. And so I would love just as you're kind of one of the like early producer voices that we've had on the podcast, like when you're in that space with like trying to write with other people, or even just trying to help like realize the vision of a song, like help us get into that space a little bit too, of like, how do you come up and begin to serve the song, or like, and help kind of like this idea that maybe is like almost there, but not quite. Like, how do you, like, where's your headspace at when you're kind of getting into a song?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's a lot like church.
Yeah.
I have to look at it from like the worship leader, viewpoint of going, all right, who's the congregation that we're creating this for?
Yep.
And what does the congregation need?
Yep.
And so anytime we're diving into songs, whether we were, working on, the Passion record or whatever, it was like trying to figure out, all right, what is this moment for?
Yep.
What are we doing?
Yep.
And sometimes you tend to move in different directions and you try to reshape, but like it's always about who you're writing songs for. It's very rarely about like, oh, this is super clever and we need to do this.
Yeah.
It's like, no, does it serve a purpose?
Right.
And that's, that's always the question.
Yeah.
Of, what's the purpose? Who are we serving?
Yep.
How do we accomplish this?
Yep.
And how do we do it in a new and creative way?
Yeah. What's that part? Like,
that's
like
hard.
as you're like, what are the things that interest you when you're trying to go in that new and creative zone?
Well, I mean, I think, when you take the church thing and you throw it together with a voice memo of you walking down the street.
Yeah.
And figuring out how to intertwine these sounds and feelings.
Yep.
Of the intimacy.
Yep.
But yet put it in a room where people feel like they have the freedom to enter in themselves.
Yep.
It's this beautiful clash of heaven and earth, I feel like.
That's awesome.
And some days it's really easy to do that.
Yeah.
Some days it's more difficult.
Yep.
But I think it's like there's no no's. Like everything is let's try it.
Yep. Oh, that's cool. So you kind of have this like yes and mentality.
Yeah, it's improv, man.
Yeah, right.
We're all riffing off of each other.
Right. That's pretty huge because I'm sure, especially in the seat that you sit in, you're working not only with an artist usually, but you're also working with their team.
Yeah.
And then there's just a lot of like, there's music goes through a lot of hands before it actually like goes out into the world. And so as somebody who's helping like steward that and shepherd that process, how do you do that where you're trying to like, are there moments where you like, how do you take the feedback, but then stay true to a vision? But like, I mean, obviously that's a dance. There's probably not like there's not a formula to this, but like, how do you do that? Like, how do you handle, hey, okay, we've got a lot of voices speaking into the process. Yeah. With probably valid viewpoint, like valid angles on this thing 100%, the whole way. Yeah.
100%. I think in the early days, I think I tried to I forced too many things down a path.
Really?
It's like, no, this is how it should go. It's like, no, I have no idea. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
All of us are guessing.
Do you feel like as you've gotten older, the less like certain you've gotten on those things?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Why do you think that is?
Because I don't have to prove anything to anybody anymore.
Wow.
Like, I don't have to prove to you that I deserve to be here in this room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a part of writing a song. Did I do all the things that people think that I did? Probably not. And that's the thing is like, I don't have to care.
Do you feel like that's kind of freed you up as you make stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that was kind of the same thing with, people were like, well, how do you write another Grady Lord? And it's like, I don't.
I don't know, and I might not.
The statistics say that I will not. But who knows?
Yeah, because a lot of life is positioning too. I feel like just going like I'm where you want me to be, God, and my hands are open. I'm doing what you want me to do, and I'm going to trust you with wherever that leads. Yeah, right. Yeah. That's amazing. So you would say like at this point, like you're pretty open. Like you try and stay open to the process.
Yeah, 100%. I have the things that I feel like I bring to the table.
Yep.
And I can bring them into the session, and if they're welcomed, then it's great. If it's not, then I pivot and I go to serve the project. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we're talking about creating something together. Yeah, which a lot of times is not me carrying it. Yeah, it's you or somebody else. Yeah, and it's a vision that's been casted, and my thing is to be able to take what's in your head and to put it on tape and then put it out to the world.
That's amazing.
And it's not really my job to take what I think is best. Yeah. It's to take what you think is best and to pull out the things that you can't even see yourself. Yeah. So a lot of times it's very, it's things that we don't even talk about. Right. It's just the stuff that you can't necessarily see that I'm picking. And, I have an amazing team that works with me. Brad King and Colin. Yep. Those guys are awesome. Which have been awesome. And we work really hard at listening to an artist or an entire team. Because, we have you as the artist, we have the A&R team. Yep. And we have the rest of the label, we have marketing, we have publishing. Yep. That's going, does this even make sense? It's like, it's so many people. Yeah. And then we have managers, and then wives and
it takes a
second
village.
Cousins. And,
we got them all. Yeah. And it really does. I mean, that's, I think, such a thing. I don't know if everybody, I love it. I hope people listening to this podcast that are just, I love this song, and they're getting a little window into how God has worked through this song. But even just to know, God brings a lot of people into the process to bring these songs out to people. And it's not just one or two people kind of in their little room. I mean, I guess sometimes it is, God does what he wants to do.
Greater You Lord would not have happened without Paul Mabry, Chico Gonzalez, like people that you have never heard of in your life are the reason why this song is out.
That's amazing.
Mike Murray, like all these people, like played such a vital role into making this song happen, but they're never heard of.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. And so shout out to all the teams.
Yeah, man,
that's so good.
Chris DeTrey, our manager. I mean, like all these people were just like such a vital. Of like, yes, you should do this.
That's so cool. I know, and it's so funny. I mean, I feel like everybody needs that wherever you are, and if you're just in whatever you're working on, but just hopefully you can get around people who want to champion what God is doing, and they all want the best.
You can't have yes people around you.
You're right.
Like if you have yes people around you, it ain't gonna work.
No.
You need people who are going to challenge you, speak truths into your life, the hard truths.
You're right.
And you have to have it.
Yes.
You gotta have it.
Gotta have it. Well, David, just as we wrap up, what's something, just as you are, again, just a anchor in making church music right now, like what's some things that you're seeing or that you're like really hopeful for, just as people are, as songs are kind of coming up and people are writing music for the church? What's something you're looking forward to?
Man, I just think there's a lot of real moments that are happening, which just means just moments that are coming from real life.
Yeah.
Real experiences.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing to me that gets me excited, because it's not just we're not just throwing up these big grand ideas.
Right.
These are actual things that like people are walking through, which creates this beautiful intimacy.
Yeah.
Because there's a connection with the song more than just trying to get people to sing it.
Right.
And I think that's the thing that excites me.
I love that.
A ton.
Yeah.
Being a songwriter, being a guy who loves just music.
Yep.
It's those songs that I have always connected to through the year. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the ones that hit me straight in the heart.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited about that. I'm excited about just new ideas.
Yeah.
People coming and worshiping in their homes, and I think it's the Wild West out here right now with music.
It's an exciting time.
It's an exciting time. You can do anything.
You really can.
If you can dream it up, you can do it.
Yeah.
And we are not confined to being on tours or anything.
Yeah.
Like legit, you can make a video and all of a sudden millions of people see it, and all of a sudden you're doing crazy things.
Yeah.
And that to me is extremely exciting.
I love that.
Because it's forcing people to be creative.
Yep.
And forcing people to get out there and do it.
I love it. Dude, that's so great. Man, thank you so much for stopping by and coming and being a part of the podcast today. And we hope the show goes awesome tonight.
Thanks. It's going to be sweet.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Bro, thank you so much.
Oh, man. Love it.
Love it.